Testing, testing. Okay. Do we have any more candidates? Welcome. So good evening, everyone. Again, my name is Ashley Weaver, and I have the pleasure of moderating the Family Court panel. So I'm going to allow each of you to introduce yourself. Yes, please. And where your district you're running from. We'll start. Good evening.
Okay. Good evening. I'm Judge Pamela Wilson Cousins.
Bring us a little bit.
All right, good evening. I'm Judge Pamela Wilson Cousins. I'm your district judge in Jefferson County Family Court. I am running for re-election, and I'm on your ballot on March the 5th, and I'm asking you to count on Cousins.
Good evening. I am Attorney Jacqueline Brett Jones, and I'm running to be your next Jefferson County District Court Judge, Place 3. That is the Family Court Division here in Jefferson County. So I'm asking for your prayers and your votes on March 5th. I will be the only Jones on your ballot if you live here in Jefferson County. So remember me.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Lakita Hall Wright, and I'm running for Jefferson County Family Court, Place 3. And I ask on March 5th that you make it right and vote Lakita Hall Wright.
All right, thank you, thank you. Okay, we'll begin with our first question. Ms. Cousins, does compassion play a part in your decisions?
Thank you. To a certain extent, but I first look at the facts. I look for the law, and I apply the law to the facts. And then if there are children involved, I like to hear from the children, and I like to hear what their interests are and what their wants and needs are.
Does compassion play a part in your decision?
Absolutely. I believe in order to rule fairly and just that you have to be compassionate, you have to have integrity. And so in order to rule fair and just, you have to be able to relate to the people that are coming in front of you. And so my goal is and always has been is to protect the interests of our children and make sure our families are protected. And I will do that with compassion each and every time.
Thank you.
I must echo what Ms. Jones has already said. Compassion has to be the focal point, but yet you have to remain fair. However, you must remain fair, and that rule is based on the rule of law. But you can't be in this position without being compassionate and empathetic.
All right, thank you. Okay. Going into our second question, how do you deal with immigrants or our immigrant population? How do you handle those situations? And I'm going to start with, or I'll start in the middle.
Well, I am of the opinion immigrants should be treated just like any other person. My personal belief is if you can call the police and you are situated in our state, you are afforded the same thing, equal rights under the law. And when you come before me, I will rule just like you're a citizen. Your social economic status, your race, your color, your creed will not matter in my courtroom.
You are a person, regardless of your socioeconomic demographics, color, creed, as Ms. Jones has said, purple, red, black, blue. You will be treated fairly.
Thank you. Immigrants are people, and you treat people the same as you treat any other. You treat immigrants just the same as you treat any other person. They're no different. They're people just like everybody. You treat them fair, with respect. You follow the law in all the cases, and you're doing your job.
All right, now I'm going to open it up to the floor. Are there any questions for our candidates? Yes, sir.
With the violence that's going on in the community, most of them is from young people. So are there any programs that you plan on implementing or supporting that help with the youth to kind of help with this violence to get it down? Because there's a lot of youth gang violence that's going on in the community right now.
Well, first of all, one of the things that we have to do is to try to educate the community. I do a lot of speaking in the community with regards to issues involving protection from abuse and how the courts can assist persons that suffer from physical, sexual, and emotional abuse. So educating the community on what resources are available, offering those resources through the courts. In my court, we offer different things. We offer counseling for parents. We offer counseling for children. We offer co-parenting classes. There are a number of things that are offered through the courts, but again, you've got to understand what the position of the courts is and what types of cases that we hear. This court hears custody, child support, paternity, and protection from abuse.
And if I'm correct me if I'm wrong, the question was, what type of programs, if any, can we implement to help with the youth violence in our community?
Or support.
Or to avoid?
Or support.
Support. Oh, I just wanted to make sure that was your question.
Right.
There are plenty of resources we currently already have within our community. As judges, there are not really a whole lot of programs we can create that we will help with the youth violence. However, I am a proponent of helping with the violence that's going on in our community because many of you may not know, growing up, I was a problem child. You wouldn't believe that because of what I look like today. But yes, my middle school up until about 9th grade, I was a problem child. And so I had teachers and people to help educate me on what was a better choice. And so as a judge, my goal would not necessarily be to help the child when they get in front of me, but to be out in the community helping them before they're even in the judicial system. That would be the goal. The goal is to head off them coming in front of the judge to be able to see if we can put them in a position to succeed and not fail.
And to echo what Ms. Jones said, she is correct. However, the juvenile system is more rehabilitative. We do have programs that are currently already in place, but finances play a big issue when it comes to programs, and they are not one size fit all. They have to be what is going to be best for the masses. So again, it really starts in the community, and as judges, we're limited as to what you can do, but you can. It starts all in the community, and on the back end, it's really what's best for the court.
Thank you, and thank you for that question. Are there any more questions for our panelists? Yes.
Hello, ladies. How are you doing? As you know, I just told you the story about my daughter becoming a inherent trafficking victim. What can you do to give more resources to victims of trafficking? Because I feel like the system failed me when it came to my child. And then the system failed me once again with my son. My son was laced at Jefferson County School. And I went to the courts to try to get help and try to prevent things from happening. So he was at school, he was in special education, and it was a touchy situation. My son was in school, he was in special education. Little girl brought some gummies to school and gave him some candy. The candy was laced with THC and possibly spice. My son been hospitalized over 22 times. Went to the courts didn't provide no kind of assistance to me. They bashed me and made it seem like it was my issue. My son is suffering now from psychosis and ADHD, PTSD, impulse control disorder, borderline intellectual disability. He has so many issues, but the courts came at me and made it seem like I was the issue. Nobody pointed at the school where it happened. So what can you guys do with trafficking and kids getting laced in school, prevention.
Thank you, and thank you for sharing that. Judge Cousins, do you want to start?
All right, so I would like to try to answer your question, but you have to understand you're asking a judge that only handles paternity, child support, custody, visitation, and protection from abuse. The issue that you're referring to does not come before this court. So I'm sorry, that's the best that I can tell you right now, because this court does not handle those issues.
So I'm going to say it this way. The family court cannot police the things that are happening in our school system. The judge in that seat cannot police what is happening in our community. But what we can do is speak out towards those things, not necessarily taking a position, but try to educate the masses. That's what I can do. I understand your position. We talked about it. However, as a judge, what we can do is not point the finger at the parent, absolutely, but we can't police things that are beyond our control. And human trafficking within a community setting is beyond the control of the bench. Now, if the offender were to come in front of this court, which I doubt it would because this is a family court seat, then we can police that. But outside of that, this particular seat cannot police what you have gone through. And it's unfortunate, but we just can't.
As they have previously said, some things are outside our control. However, you do have resources for human trafficking within the court system already. We do have a human trafficking docket. We do have a liaison that currently works with Jefferson County, Birmingham, as well as the FBI in reference to human trafficking. So you can reach out and see what resources are available from that individual. Give me hours, I'll tell you exactly what it is. But we do have a human trafficking docket and resources already in place. But as far as with your other situation, if it never makes it to the court, it's kind of outside of our purview, but we can, as previously stated, speak out.
Mine is just a follow-up. When you say for the attorney there, mine is a follow-up. What court handles the human trafficking? Because I don't want to get that confused. When you speak on things that are outside of the job, I don't want to get that confused. That's what I'm saying. That way they'll know for sure.
Okay, let me explain to you what family court does. Family court handles a multitude of issues. However, this particular seat has historically, recently only handled child support related issues. But family court in general handles juvenile delinquency, juvenile dependency, termination of parental rights, truancies, vascals, emancipation, you name it, anything related to family. So this seat can hear anything. It just currently right now, it only hears child support related issues.
Thank you. At the beginning of every year, the judges receive a assignment of cases from our presiding judge, and that comes from an administrative order. Each judge is assigned certain types of cases to hear. This particular seat is only assigned to hear paternity, custody, child support, visitation, and protection from abuse. And that is all that this court can hear.
We have one more question.
Yes. After 33 years of being a police officer, my question is for protection of abuse orders. We find out in the areas that I work in and throughout the city that people go get the protection orders, then they abuse the protection orders. They call the person back to the house knowing that they don't supposed to be there. Then they call the police to put them back out. and we have a problem with the law enforcement area where we try to get y'all to enforce the thing all the way. It doesn't matter who actually violates the protection order. It doesn't matter who might violate, whether it's the victim or the defendant. But what we find out is that we go back to the house, they done let them back in, they done moved them back in, they done made home again, and then the moment they get in an argument, I got a protection order. So how would you address that?
Once the protection order is entered, there's a clause in it that usually says the person has to stay 300 feet away, 1,000 feet away from the residence. If you find that they are back together again, then the alleged victim has violated the protection order. And if violation occurs, you have to dismiss the order because there is a violation.
All right, are there any more questions? Okay, so let's give these candidates a round of applause. Thank you, best wishes to you all.
Do you know what's happening in Birmingham? Download the What's Happening Birmingham app today on Android, iPhone, and iPad for free. Get info on everything you need to know about local news, events, businesses, restaurants, and more. Visit our website, what'shappeningbham.com, or follow us on social media @happeningbham for more information. Download the What's Happening Birmingham app today, your source for everything Birmingham.